The function of insulin in the human body. What is insulin? Insulin is a hormone produced by the beta cells of the pancreas. It functions by promoting uptake of glucose by cells, thus reducing blood glucose levels.
There are three main types of hormones: protein, lipid, and amine-based. Both protein and amine hormones are water-soluble and can't diffuse through the cell's plasma membrane. Lipid hormones, however, can diffuse through the membrane. Hormones are intracellular signaling molecules that cause a response.
Homeostasis is the regulation of internal body conditions, such as temperature and blood sugar. When a change in the system is detected, a reaction is induced by nervous or hormonal signals. The body's response is known as feedback. When feedback occurs, the change is neutralized. These processes keep our
Glucose feedback mechanisms. Blood glucose levels rise when we eat. If blood glucose levels rise too high, beta cells release insulin in response. Insulin decreases glucose levels by increasing uptake by surrounding cells. Similarly, if blood glucose level is too low, alpha cells will release glucagon.
Proteins are composed of amino acids. Amino acids form chains known as peptide chains. They are not to be confused with the similar amine hormones, which are only composed of one major amino acid, that being tyrosine or tryptophan. Some examples of protein hormones include ADH for the body's water regulation, oxytocin to help women in childbirth, and glucagon, which raises blood sugar levels.
The most common form of insulin is composed of two peptide chains, held together primarily by disulfide bonds. A single pair of these chains is known as a dimer. A larger molecule composed of 4 chains in total is a hexamer.
Insulin is both water-soluble and too big to fit through the plasma membrane. Therefore, the hormone is received by a protein on the outside of the membrane, purposed specifically to receive insulin. The signal is further transduced. After it's received, the receptor activates an enzyme which facilitates the production of cyclic adenosine monophosphate from ATP. A cascade of enzyme reactions follows, the final reactions mediating the response.
The response induced by insulin causes 2 events. First, it causes the cell to open its channel proteins to take up more glucose. The second event is the cell converts the glucose into a carbohydrate store known as glycogen, which can be broken down into glucose again for later use.
Insulin can malfunction in 2 different ways. Tolerance is when the receiving cell fails to act on receival due to repeated exposure. Malfunction is when the beta cells don't produce enough insulin. These factors, or a combination of them, can lead to a condition called diabetes. Diabetes is a homeostatic malfunction where those affected are unable to maintain their own blood glucose levels. Type 1 diabetes is an inherited autoimmune disorder caused by beta cells being destroyed by the body's own immune system. Type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle disease caused both by cell tolerance and lack of insulin. There is currently no cure for diabetes. However, each type can be managed. Type 1 diabetes can be managed with regular insulin injections. Type 2 diabetes can be managed with the prescription of a drug called metformin and a careful diet. Type 2 can be prevented with regular exercise and a healthy, varied diet.
Created using Powtoon.